Hi there. I thought I'd share a little bit about calling in light of sharing the news about moving to Scotland near Inverness. I've been thinking about calling for a good 6 months or so, especially, and the will of God. Um, so many people say, "Why Inverness? What's special about that? Why going so far away? Maybe as well. There are if you feel called maybe to the country or living in a different place, why not just head out 15 miles south of Manchester or something?" Um, and yeah, I mean that is one way of thinking about it. I suppose going back a step, I have felt that particularly myself, I felt a real deep sense of calling to the place that we live in Fallowfield, and we actually started our community, the journey, in light of wanting to be an incarnational community, so one that embodies the gospel in our neighborhood. So place has been massively significant for me. I became a Christian in this area about 20 years ago. It's when my faith came alive. It's where I was really awakened to the love of God, to the Spirit of God. I felt I remember having a number of experiences of God's Spirit, praying in tongues, prophesying, encountering God in really special ways that made a lasting impact in me. So this place has been sacred for me. So for calling to happen in terms of a move that we're looking to make, there is a sense of the calling to this place is changing. My relationship to that, the season is changing. There's a lifting of maybe grace and even love that I've had for this area. It's changing. It's not as hot as it used to be. And maybe some of the ministry and the work I've been doing for the last few years has been more out of Manchester than in Manchester. So some of those things start to loosen your sense of a place, the sense of real, like this is the place to be all the time. So with that, we started to pray about where. Now, where do you choose to go? Now, with the will of God, I think it's so important to realize it's not a tightrope. It's not that God has a very narrow path for us and we have to do this specific thing or we're kind of excluded from his purposes. Now, when God calls us, we're called to him in relationship, to be a child of God, to be a friend of God, to be a follower of Jesus. And that means to follow Jesus and his teachings, to love God with all our heart, soul, mind, and strength, and to love our neighbor as ourselves. So that means we can go many places. We can express that faith in many different ways. We can do lots of different kinds of good works, from tilling and toiling the land, over the land, and the regenerative regeneration and the healing of the land that's so desperately needed, or telling the story and living out the story of Jesus in ways that help people follow him and become followers of Christ. So there's lots of different ways we live out the mission of God. So loads of freedom. There's loads of opportunity to go and be and do different things as a follower of Christ. And that even counts for someone like myself who has a particular vocational calling, a calling to join in God's mission with the church, to innovate, to pioneer, to try new things, to help people connect with the Father's heart and his dream for this world. And we've talked as the journey that we want to continue to be discovering Jesus together. But the last 7 years have been about discovering Jesus around the table, around relationships and dialogue and listening, around the neighborhood and in the wild. So in these places that can be in lots of different places. So there is something special about where we're going, near Inverness, and it's that God has awakened our heart's desire for that place. So that's really important, that desires follow. People and place are ignited. It's not an institution or a job or a career saying you have to go here. It's not a step up the ladder. I've never seen Christian ministry like that. It's a sense of compelled, a sense of being invited to participate in the mission of God in a new place, to enter the neighborhood in a new way, to share our table with new people, being the outsider rather than the insider, which I've been used to for many years now, being in Manchester so long. and to explore what it is to connect with God outdoors, and to continue to articulate a path to experiencing God's salvation by engaging with our environment and nature. So all of that, I believe, is the invitation in Inverness. And yeah, well, that could have happened in lots of different parts of the country, but it's a place we've been to many times in the last 5 years. It's a place our heart has been awoken, desire. It seems really far away, because it is, and it's where our family and our friends are here. So to make that kind of move for us requires courage and strength and fortitude, but there's a sense of passion, desire, longing that's in our hearts that is ready to be, I think, fulfilled and satisfied, much like it has been in Manchester. Manchester's been amazing for us. Love Manchester and all the memories, all the friends that we hope to continue to be friends with. But this is a time to discern that the will of God is gloriously free, liberating for us. It's not something that holds us back or is a tightrope. It's something that gives us invitation to express ourselves, our gifts, and allowing our calling, and our ministries to become everything that God wants them to be, and to ultimately to be with Jesus and follow him and allow him to lead in a new place is so exciting right now for us. So that's a little bit about the will of God. I don't know how it works for you, but discerning it for us has been a joyful process with a lens of desire, a lens of, will we thrive? Will our marriage thrive? Will our family thrive? Will we thrive in this neighborhood? Will we bring fruitfulness? Will we love it like we love Manchester? And we felt like yes to that, even if there's a great loss, even if there is significant sacrifice to go and actually serve and be in a new place, and to learn something very, very different about who God is and who we are to be his people.